All right, y'all. Let's finish up part 3. I'm trying to finish up part 3. I don't want to have part 4 because I want to go ahead and do my reading. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up with Mr. Sterns today, and where we left off. He was telling the officer after getting caught in what seems to be the first deception that they caught him up in, based on his story. So they had just told him that he had reported that he was going in one direction, and when the police officer tracked his whereabouts based upon what he told them he was doing and where he was going, it didn't add up, because supposedly he was going in a northern direction, but his vehicle was caught going in the opposite direction. And the other discrepancy was the fact that he said he was with Miss Madeline in between certain times, and this surveillance has his car going in the opposite direction during the time that he had Miss Madeline in the car. Okay, and because police officer has kind of got him hung up right here, he's saying, "Oh yeah, I forgot my gate clicker, so I went back to the house real quick." So that's where we at now. He's saying that he went back to the house real quick after they left because he forgot his gate clicker. So let's look at this. He's saying that surveillance caught him traveling in the opposite direction that he originally said he was going, in between this time frame that he had Miss Madeline, because he forgot his gate clicker. He's going back to the house at this time. So he said it was after they left the house that he realized that he forgot his gate clicker, and now he's going back, because he said he went back to the house real quick. Now he said that he left the house at around 7:15ish is what he said. Okay, if you left the house at that time, but the surveillance has your car going back in the direction of your house around 8:10. So I don't know what your definition of real quick is, but why is it taking you damn near an hour from the time you left your house to return back to your house because you forgot your gate clicker? When you said that you forgot your gate clicker and you went back real quick to the house. Real quick is not an hour span of time. That's not real quick. Not to me. It could be to somebody else, but to me, that's not real quick. It took you from 7:15 to almost 8:15 when your car is spotted going back towards the house. And you're saying that was real quick, so you could go and get your gate clicker? That's not real quick. Those two things don't go together. Now you saying you left the house at 7:15ish with Miss Madeline, and your car is being seen going back to the house around 8:10, I believe. Your car is seen going back towards that direction of your house, and you're saying it's because you forgot your gate clicker, so you turn around to go back real quick to get your gate clicker. No. That wouldn't suffice for me. Real quick is not an hour span of time. We're talking about an hour span of time here. See that? He was guesstimating these times. I think I mentioned it in another video. That's exactly what he was doing, right? And granted, I understand people can't remember exact times, but you could give a time frame. And you being specific, you could give a time frame for everything that you do. Okay? And even if you don't give a time, you could say, well, it was the morning or it was the afternoon, and it had to be around. It's okay if you say 8:15ish, 8:30ish, but it's not okay if that time coincides with something that the police have now deemed contradictory to what you said. That's a problem. Okay, that's a problem now, because you gave the time frame. And if you're given a time frame that you were doing some type of behavior, or you were responding to something, or whatever the case, but it's you who is doing it, your time frame should be accurate enough that if they look in that time frame, it should coincide with what you said. And don't think police don't understand that, because they do. It's a time frame. Where if you said you was doing something particular at this time, was, around about this time, they should see some type of evidence, or they shouldn't see some type of evidence of you doing something in this time if you said you're not. Or they should see evidence that you are doing something that you said you were doing in this time frame. So this is another situation where I feel like he's going to be caught up. He said, he says, I'm not a morning person. That's what he just said, y'all. He said, I'm not a morning person. I'm sorry I had the wrong times. I was guesstimating these times. I'm not a morning person. You're not a morning person? You seem to have been doing a lot that morning for somebody who's not a morning person. Okay. You were doing a lot of moving around between the hours that we know right now of 7 in the morning to 10 is the time frame that so far I've heard him giving from his own mouth of things he had been doing. So for him not to be a morning person, I mean, why are you so actionable? Why are you doing so much in the morning time for you not to be a morning person? I mean, it's not like you were going to work right after you dropped Miss Madeline off. And if you were, we haven't heard that yet. I haven't heard anything about you going to work. So if you're not a morning person, why are you not dropping Miss Madeline off and then going back home? You doing a whole lot of activity for somebody who's not a morning person. Or maybe you're not a morning person at this particular time. He said he don't know where his head was yesterday. It was so far up his backside. Once again, he's bringing attention to his coherentness. His brain functioning at the time. Why? Because he's mentioned medicine. He's mentioned stabilizing. I want you to pay attention to the scenario he's throwing out here. He keeps bringing attention back to his headspace. Okay? So if the police can say, well, we found discrepancies in his story. He said this at this time, but we found it to the contrary. Then the defense can say, well, he didn't bring it to your attention that he was on medication. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen. I'm just saying what I think, in my opinion, about what Mr. Sterns is doing in his interview with these officers. So the female officer, is telling Mr. Sterns right now that she don't have any more questions, but she said, in the meantime, we're going to hold on to your phone. And for those of you who don't know, that is a red flag. Okay? The police are not buying what you're saying if they're doing that. But they can't tell you that. They can't tell you that. And I'm not thinking for the police officer. I just recognize certain things. And what I can say is the police are not buying this shit right now. They want to hold on to his phone. During an investigation, that's what it is. If they feel like they need further clarity, if you wasn't clear enough, they feel like they have something that may not be supporting what you're saying, they'll take other measures because they're trying to get to the facts. And if they're not clear about something, they're going to dive deeper. And that's especially not good for people who are being deceptive. So they're telling him right now that they're going to hold on to his phone. That's for a reason. Okay, so it seems like he understands that the police are going to hold on to his phone. But now he's saying, how long are you going to need my phone? Not, okay, sure, whatever you need. Not, okay, well, you take it and you do what you have to do. I understand. None of that. The first question is, how long are you gonna need my phone? There's a concern here about time, and there may be some uneasiness or anxiety about them taking his phone with this question. So he's saying, he asked the question, how long are you gonna need my phone? Um, and he's saying, my dad. It's just my dad's using that to get a hold of me. I'm sure that's what people do when they have your number. They use it to get in touch with you. I'm sure everybody do that. Your dad may be doing it. Somebody else's dad, mom, children, they may be doing it. That's what happens when you have a cell phone number. People use it to get in contact with you. Why do you feel the need to bring up your dad using it to get a hold of you? Is that really the concern? Is that really the concern? That's all I'm gonna say. So the officer said, in the case where Mr. Sterns is saying, well, my dad is going to be contacting me here to get updates. The officer is like, that's okay. You can use so-and-so's phone, which is, I believe, the mother, because the officer said you can use Jen's phone. And I believe Jen is the mother. Jen being short for Jennifer, maybe. That's the mother. I mean, you understand what I'm saying? That's a workaround right there. Since you're being concerned about the dad getting in contact with you, and I don't think that's the concern, really. I don't think that's the genuine concern behind that question. But that's what he's saying, is that he want to know how long they're going to have the phone, because that's the phone the dad is going to be calling him on to get updates. The officer's like, well, you can use Jen's phone to update the dad. Okay? That's not the genuine concern, though, that he has about that phone. I bet. So the officer is asking him, because they're wrapping up the interview right now, do you swear that everything you told us is true? Mind you, they've already caught him up. In this interview, they done caught him up at least twice. In this interview, they done caught him up at least twice. I'm telling you, they done caught him at least twice in a lie. So they said, do you swear that everything you told us is true? There's a reason why they asked him this question. Okay? And then he said, yes. If you are lying to the police and they catch you in your deceptions by showing you that the evidence is contradictory to what your story is, and then they ask you if everything you told them is true and you say yes, then they find out after they've asked you this question that you've lied. That's already a charge. It's obstruction. That's already a charge. You have to be careful what you say to these people. And if it's one thing that this man knows, is how to be careful about what he says, but he's being careful for him. He's being careful for him. He's not thinking that him being careful for him can cause a conflict with the police. I don't think so. Because if the police officer is asking you a direct question like this, and you give a direct answer of yes, and then this is a law enforcement officer here you're talking to. If you said yes, and then later on they catch you up in a lie, after you told them yes, they can already charge you. You could already get a charge just by this one question. So Mr. Sterns is talking about how he has a very strong bond with Miss Madeline. He says, I'm the person she goes to when her mom gets in a fight with her and she needs someone to comfort her. I want y'all to notice that when Mr. Sterns is speaking about Miss Madeline, he's using present tense here. He's using present tense here. I just want to put that in your mind. So as we go further along, you can note things for yourself. When he's talking right now, he's speaking about Miss Madeline in present tense. And I want to put in your head also that at this point, it is a murder investigation. It was a missing persons investigation initially when he did the first interview. Now, this is a murder investigation. This girl, please notice that this man has yet to call this teenager by her name. He has yet to call her that. Remember, he said he loved her supposedly when she got in a car, and she returned that she loved him too, or she responded that she loved him too. You know, he cared for her when the mother's not in the house. He made sure she was getting her daily routine together, or her nightly routine together. But he has yet to call her by her name. Why are you not calling this baby by her name? You have continuously used pronouns when you are speaking about someone. I have yet to hear him call Miss Madeline's name or the mother's name. He's referring to Miss Madeline as this girl. This girl knows nothing but love in this house. This girl. Are you relating at all to the severity of this situation? This girl? She? Her? Who are you identifying here? The mother's the girl / woman, and so is the daughter. The mother's a she, but so is the daughter. The mother's a her, but so is the daughter. Why are you not being specific when you talk? I'm questioning his humanity here. That's what I'm doing. I'm questioning his humanity. So there are some documents that they're about to show. Okay, and I'm just going to be reading them for the first time now. But there are some documents they are about to show that were, taken throughout the course of the investigation. These are, this is what was given, or this is what came about from the investigation. Oh, goodness. All right, let me see if I can make this bigger. Okay, so I was able to, they zoomed in, thank goodness they zoomed in on this document because I was having trouble trying to read it. Okay, so let me go ahead and read it now because it's a little clearer now. So it says on February 26, 2024 at approximately 2000 hours, which for those of you who don't know, that's 8 o'clock at night, it's 8 p.m., Blank was reported missing to the Orange County Sheriff's Office by her mother. So her mother was the one that reported her missing at 8 o'clock on February 26th. Blank completed a sworn written statement to Orange County deputies to the following. Blank stated on February 26, 2024 at approximately 0800 hours, which would have been at 8 a.m. in the morning. She saw Blank getting ready for school. Blank stated Stephan Sterns took her to school and dropped her off close to the school. Blank said Stephan dropped Blank off on Town Loop Boulevard between Town Center Boulevard and Hunters Park Lane. Now, what's interesting is the mother is giving in her response specific locations of where Miss Madeline was supposedly dropped off by Mr. Sterns. But Mr. Sterns was not this clear. Meaning these particular places were not mentioned to the police in the interview that I went over earlier. So he told the mother this, but didn't tell the police this. Blank said Stephen dropped her off between 08:30 in the morning and 08:45 in the morning. Ho! Wait a minute. Completely different times than he told the police. Completely different times here than he told the police. Now, why variation in your time frame, sir? Why the hell you tell police that you went to take Madeline to school earlier than what you told Jennifer, which is the mother? You told the police y'all left the house around 07:15. Y'all excuse me. 7:15 in the morning. Around 7:15 in the morning. That's a whole hour and 15 minutes. Earlier than what you told the mother. Come on now. And then the time that the mother is reporting that it took you to drop her off was a span of 15 minutes. You told the mother it took you 15 minutes to drop the baby off. You told the police there was about an hour and some change worth of time that it took for you to drop her off. From 07:15ish to about 8:20 something is what he said to the police. Why is there a discrepancy in the time that you told the police and the time that you gave the mother? Blank stated Blank never made it to school. Blank went to Blank around 1600 hours. So Blank went to Blank around 1600 hours, which is 4 p.m. in the afternoon, to pick Blank up. And she never came out of the school. Do you know what kind of frenzy a mother would be in if they went to pick their baby up from school and the baby never came out? A state of panic is what the fuck is going on here. A state of panic would be an appropriate reaction. Where's my baby? The first thing I'm doing is, what the hell? She ain't out yet. School almost empty. What is going on? Panic is what a mother like me would be feeling. Panic. But she went to pick her child up from school, and Miss Madeline never came out. Blank stated she searched around the area and then went to her mother's office, but could not locate her. That's I couldn't imagine as a mother having to go through that. Oh my gosh. You can't find your baby, and supposedly she was dropped off to school. At least that's what your boyfriend told you. That he dropped her off to school, but away from the school, not even in front of the school. And then you go to pick her up that afternoon, believing that's where she's at, and she never comes out. And then you going to look for her and you can't find her. What? It says Deputy Joseph from the Orange County Sheriff's Office contacted the on-call domestic crimes detective who investigated missing persons, who advised to send the report to the missing persons squad. On February 27, 2024, Detective Hunt from the Orange County Sheriff's Office received information that Blank did not report to school on the previous day. Now remember, Mr. Sterns, when he gave the initial interview, made sure to point out that he did not drop Miss Madeline off in front of the school. So nobody would be able to give an account of seeing his vehicle stop in front of the school and drop Miss Madeline off, okay? And unless the school has cameras on the outside of its building, or there are cameras within the area that could spot his vehicle coming and dropping her off within the vicinity, you have nothing. You can't prove that he dropped her off. Not in front of it. He's saying he didn't do it, but there's no proof he did it either if you don't have this surveillance. So that's what he told the police, that he did not drop her off in front of the school. He dropped her away from the school because she had a thing about what type of vehicle she was seen getting out of. He has already begun to plant the seed in your head at the time he did that interview. This is what is the, keep this phrase in your mind, plausible deniability. So with him saying that he didn't drop her off in front of the school, but saying that he dropped her off away from the school, and then going into context behind why he did that, he is planting the seed for what he wants out there, for what he wants you to believe. He also said that when she got out of the car, supposedly, he asked her if it was okay, and she said yes. If it was okay that he, was dropping her off, and she was gonna go and be with her friends until school started, and she was okay with it because he made reference to it being early, really early. And remember, this is also the person who told the police that he's not a morning person. So he has put it in the police's mind at that point that he had a conversation with Miss Madeline before him and Miss Madeline departed. That she was okay with being dropped off early, that she was going to walk back to the school and be with her friends until school started, that she didn't want to go to McDonald's, she was okay with eating the Danishes that he gave her, wherever they came from. And he said as he was driving away, he was watching her in his rearview mirror. So he's making it seem like he was surveilling her as she was going to school to ensure that she was okay. So what he's doing here is detaching himself from any situation that may have happened after he dropped Miss Madeline off, because he did not drop Miss Madeline off in front of the school. That is exactly what he's doing. Plausible deniability here, okay? You're saying you dropped her off away from the school and she was okay with that, and you surveilled her walking to the school as you were driving off. But what happened in between the time that she was walking to school and getting into the school building, you can't attest to because you were gone. So anything, I guess, could have happened in that time frame. No, sir. No, sir. You ain't getting away with that shit that easy with somebody like me. That shit ain't happening. But this is what he's doing. Therefore, the Detective Hunt began his investigation. Detective Hunt interviewed Blank and Stephen during the initial... Hold on, y'all. Detective Hunt interviewed Blank and Stephen. So at this point, they're talking to the mother. At this point, now I know that one of the blacked out spots is the mother speaking. Interviewed Blank and Stephen during the initial phase of this investigation. During these interviews, Detective Hunt noticed some inconsistencies for the Orange County Sheriff's Office's case. Detective Tagler contacted Stephan at Blank. Detective Tagler was provided locations where Stephan's vehicle had been seen during the time Stephan stated he dropped off Blank at school. Provided locations, not a location, but locations. So he has, at this point, been surveilled at more than one location, in contradiction to what he attested to happening that morning. Detective Taylor confronted Stephan about his locations during the interview, but Stephan would provide answers that did not match up to his vehicle location. Remember I said when he was going over that map, the detective was going over the map with Mr. Stephan, that he had been caught up with the direction of travel that he was alleging that he was going. But what was proven or what was surveilled as the direction he was going. Two different directions. And Stephan would provide answers that did not match up to his vehicle location. Why is he going to trouble to place his vehicle where it was not? Stephan provided consent to search his phone. However, he stated he had accidentally performed a factory reset on his phone on February 26, 2024, which is the day, the last day, that Miss Madeline was seen by her mother. Somebody who could witness seeing her prior to her going missing. So essentially, the last time that the mother saw her daughter was the morning of the day she went missing. Where we know now that the last person to have been with Miss Madeline was Mr. Stephan. So the mother cannot attest to anything that happened on that day with Miss Madeline after she saw her that morning. But Mr. Stephan knows, because Mr. Stephan was with Miss Madeline after the mother last seen them. How convenient is it that Mr. Stephan factory resets his phone on the same day Miss Madeline went missing? How do you accidentally perform a factory reset on your phone? How do you do that? When your phone requires manipulation, you gotta open it, you gotta go to settings, scroll through some stuff. I mean, this takes thinking process. This is a thinking process. Thinking process is going on at the same time as you're doing action. Same thing. This means you were coherent to have factory reset your phone. You factory reset your phone though. Doesn't that mean you have to go into the settings? You gotta intentionally go into the settings. Hold on, y'all, because I'm scrolling through. You gotta intentionally go into the settings. This is how I know to do it. You gotta intentionally go into the settings. You go to where your software updates and stuff like that. In particular, like for instance, this is one of my phones, an iPhone. If I want to do a factory reset, I have to go into the settings, I have to go into the general tab, and then I have to go to transfer and reset phone. I have to intentionally press that button. You have to tab over. It's not like you press that button and then it just resets your phone. You have to tab over. Okay, so you're telling the phone what to do, which means you're giving the phone an action. You're doing an action on the phone, so the phone can respond to what action you're trying to get done. And then once you hit over, it says prepare for new iPhone. Make sure everything's ready to transfer to the new iPhone. I'm not saying that Mr. Sterns has an iPhone. I'm just telling you what I see on my iPhone. Even if you don't currently have an iCloud storage backup, basically what it's telling you is get your phone ready to be reset. And you have a choice to reset your phone or erase all content. So your phone is giving you a choice. You have to choose. The phone's not doing that for you. How did you accidentally perform a fucking factory reset? Because I would love for him to show somebody how he did a factory reset on his phone. I don't know what kind of phone he has. How did you do a factory reset? because you have to maneuver your phone to get to that action. It's not like a button you just automatically push on your phone and it does it for you. And so you can press that button by accident. How the hell did you accidentally perform a factory reset? How convenient is it that you accidentally performed this factory reset on the same day that Miss Madeline was last seen? Fuck out of here. Detective, I believe it's Detective Tagler. Stephan asked Stephan a second time if he consented to the download of his phone, and he agreed and provided his passcode. He agreed to a download of his phone, and he agreed and provided his passcode. Detective Tagler then proceeded to the second. Detective Tagler then proceeded to the security gate at Venetian Bay to review video. The security gate at Venetian Bay. So I'm going to assume that this is a gate that Mr. Sterns alleged that he had to go through with his pass because he forgot his gate clicker. So I'm assuming that this is the same security gate. All right, here we go. So, okay, so the detective goes to the security gate at Venetian Bay to review the video. Upon reviewing the security video, Detective Tagler observes Stephan's vehicle exiting the complex with a female wearing a green sweater in the front passenger seat. Okay, so you have a surveillance video that recorded Mr. Stephan in his vehicle with a female wearing a green sweater in the front passenger seat. The female was slumped over to her left, like this, possibly like this. But when you're slumped over, you're not sitting up straight, which is an abnormal way for a person to be seated in a vehicle. She could have been like this. She could have also been like this, but she was to the left. Okay, she was like this. So somehow, way, when your body's slumped, it's not upright. When you're sitting in the seat, your body should be upright. Even if you go to sleep, you know, your head can be like this. You can have your arm like this, which means you're supporting your face with your arm. But from the way that Miss Madeline looked, and because at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and say that's who that is in the front seat. Okay. If it looked abnormal and something something caught the detective's attention about the way the female was in the passenger seat. Okay. At that point, Detective Tagler decided to secure the residence at blank for a search warrant. So the way this baby was in this car, in this front seat, gave detectives a red flag because something didn't look right about the situation. I noticed that Mr. Sterns in his interview did not give specifics as to what Miss Madeline was wearing. He didn't say what she had on. I don't remember him saying what she had on when he gave his initial interview. I don't remember him saying that. Okay, so they're about to get into the context of Mr. Sterns' phone that he gave detectives permission to download the contents of his phone. Also, the same phone that he accidentally factory reset on February 26th, which was the day that Miss Madeline went missing. Whew. On February 28th, 2024, Detective Mark Morris was called and asked to respond to blank to assist Orange County in executing the search warrant for their missing person case. Upon my arrival, I contacted Orange County deputies who were waiting for their forensics unit to arrive to execute the search warrant. While Orange County was serving a search warrant on the premises, a subsequent search warrant was executed on Stefan's cellular phone. Upon reviewing the contents of Stefan's phone, it was discovered several images were saved in a Google Drive. Now, I want to point something out real quick about the phone. Remember, the female officer, when she was wrapping up his interview, asked him if it, let him know that they were gonna need to hold on to his phone. And Mr. Sterns then said, well, do you know how long you're gonna need my phone? And he kind of stuttered a little bit, but he said, because my dad, that's how he contacts me to get updates. And remember, I said I didn't believe that was the genuine reason why he asked that question. Now we're here. A separate search warrant was served to Google, and upon the receipt of the contents of Stefan's Google Drive, several images and videos were located which depicted an apparent child this makes my stomach hurt. Several images and videos were located which depicted an apparent child with her breasts, vagina, and anal opening as the focal point of the pictures and the videos. Why does this grown man have these types of pictures in his motherfucking phone? Images that were saved to his Google Drive. Why do you have pictures like this in your fucking phone?